are to be in pictures. You're wonderful.
The following podcast contains spoilers for pretty much the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, all the way up till Thor Ragnarok. There's also a Walking Dead spoiler from 28 minutes to 31 minutes.
Carl? Hi there.
Hey.
Welcome back to our latest installment of the Talkies.
Yo. Right.
From Carmen Line Studios, I'm Kenny Ballantyne.
I'm Devon Keys.
I'm Taylor.
Devon Keys also goes by D, if you didn't catch that from our regular repetition of D.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to understand that D,
short
for Devon.
Devon, yes.
It's a big leap to make.
It's a huge leap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also known as Kenny.
Yes, I go by... No. All right. We're already divulging into the warehouse basement here on the Talkies. That's a concept I'd like our listening audience to become familiar with, so we can just throw that out there without explanations.
The warehouse basement is when we get way too creative for our own good.
Yeah, and it has an origin story. The origin of the warehouse basement was the first project that the three of us all worked on together. Was this, we mentioned it last episode, this show called The Kids from Planet Earth. Yeah. And we had rented out this big warehouse and built a bunch of sets in the upper level. And then later we realized we could probably use the basement to do some other stuff. And we went down there and it was like so awesome.
It was the coolest location ever.
Yeah. I mean, it had like these pillars and all these different cement textures and layers of light.
Yeah, you could kind of make it look infinitely huge.
Yeah. And so we got a little too excited about shooting what was supposed to be a very lighthearted gag for a kids show. Became super heavy and complex and like high art.
It was way crazy.
Yeah, and long. And
we put it in the editing afterwards.
And
realized we made a huge mistake.
It's from a different movie entirely. And like we brought a car down there to be like a tracking dolly, you know, we're just shooting from the car. And
yeah, that was pretty insane.
Yeah, it did not fit the rest of the project. and then we had scenes we had to figure out how to reshoot later.
And thus we went to the warehouse basements.
Yes, yeah. So whenever we divulge into hyper creativity at the expense of probably what we're supposed to be doing, we call that going to the warehouse basement.
Yes. So
now you know.
Now you're in.
You're on the inside.
Welcome.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about something that I think first sounds just a little blah and boring because it's what everyone talks about. But come on, this is us. This is going to get interesting. So we're going to start off with Thor Ragnarok. In the category of titles that are really hard to say until you hear it a bunch of times.
Roar Thagnarok.
I was kept like Ragnarok. What's it? Ragnarok. Anyway.
Ragnarok.
Thank you.
Yes.
Did you look it up on YouTube?
Yeah, I checked
Ragnarok.
it out.
Ragnarok.
Signed Cody. Doty Choo.
How to say Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
We're going to talk about Thor Ragnarok, which will obviously divulge into a heated conversation about the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes.
And the phenomenons that it has spurred. I mean, it's changed Hollywood.
Yes.
For better or worse.
It has definitely changed.
Worse.
Tell me, Kenny, what did you think of Thor Ragnarok?
Starting off with Thor?
Yes.
So... I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
The thing that kept me so captivated was how different it is from the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like I kept jumping out of the movie and going, that was hilarious and completely out of place for this and it's weird because Disney owns Marvel, Disney owns Star Wars. And Disney's been famous for hyper controlling their product and their image,
right?
To keep everything within some very strict standards because they have figured out a formula that wins. They know the formula. this sort of named director plus this kind of script plus this kind of marketing campaign will make us $500 million
Yeah, and although it's
on
not
each
like
of these properties.
they may not be masterpieces, but they are movies that work.
They work. That's
Yeah.
just it. They figured out a recipe that works, and they go to great lengths to ensure that it works.
Yeah.
Finest examples coming from the whole Star Wars drama, right? The whole thing with the Han Solo movie and
Yeah.
Lord and Miller getting the boot.
Right.
Because they were doing the very things that it seems like, what's his name? Waititi?
Yeah,
What,
yeah.
Taiko?
Taiko.
I want to say his name right, so I'm going to look it up right now. But, you know, supposedly Lord and Miller were booted out of the Star Wars franchise because they were bringing in too much sort of like mumblecore humor and
Too much creativity.
improvising. And like this whole movie feels that way.
Right.
Right? And it's like, why did he get a license to be completely ridiculous? I mean, there were so many moments where it's like, let's completely interrupt the drama for a laugh.
Yeah.
They did it over and pretty much every time they could have done it.
Well,
They did it.
Marvel does that
And it
anyway,
worked.
though.
It
yeah,
worked.
I was going to say that most Marvel movies do.
Not like this, though. Not to
You don't think
this
so?
level. This was way over the top on the gags and jokes, I felt. You know.
But to me, that is their like formula, and I think what people are reacting differently to is, I don't think Thor Ragnarok is that different for Marvel more than it is like just all the same stuff just turned to 11 is what it is. It's just all the same stuff hyper intensified.
It seemed like he got maybe a free pass because of the success of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
It could be,
Definitely
yeah.
Guardians
Guardians
influence here,
paved the
but he
way.
definitely took it to another level with the psychedelic imagery.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of pop music in Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's also part of the story. Like, it's
Yeah.
referenced. It's on his headphones, you know? But, boy, Thor has a theme song in this movie like a pro wrestler does. And don't get me wrong, I loved the movie. It
Yeah.
just sort of shocked me at how unique it was and different, being how Disney has sort of
Yeah.
treated their other properties.
That is really interesting to me.
See, I feel differently though because I don't think
I'll allow that. We have room for dissent.
I really like Thor Ragnarok. I don't like the other. I actually haven't seen the second Thor. I don't like the first Thor that much.
You're not missing a whole lot from the second one, honestly.
It looked like more of the
Right.
same. But Thor Ragnarok was way better than the first one, and I enjoyed it a lot. Had a lot of fun watching it. But I would not say it's very different from Guardians of the Galaxy or even Avengers or anything like that. Other than it's just like a little more colorful.
I feel like it breathes some fresh air
Yeah.
into the MCU. Not enough to make me like super excited about the MCU.
Guardians felt like more fresh in that instance when Guardians became a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Hey, by the way, it's Taika Waititi.
Oh, okay,
Taika.
cool.
Who's Taika? Yeah,
Taika.
he's from New Zealand. He's a very talented director, especially in smaller films. Like he has this one, I think it's called Search for the Wilder People.
Yeah,
yeah.
With Sam Neill in it, that is so delightful. Like one of the best, sort of like heartwarming indies of the last 5-6 years.
Now, does that kind of feel, because I haven't seen that movie, but does that kind of feel carry over to this one? Does it feel like it was
The jokes.
the jokes are?
Yeah, the jokes are similar. You know, just sort of like a little random, a little mumblecore, weird,
Yeah.
almost Portlandia-ish kind of gags coming through.
Speaking of weird, freaking Goldblum.
He's my favorite thing.
Yeah,
about
he
the
was
movie.
great
He was
in
my
it, yeah.
absolute favorite
great.
thing. And I wonder how much of that was scripted and how much they let him just
Just be him.
be himself.
Yeah.
Um,
Jeff, just be you.
I mean, he can't be anyone else at this point. You know, he's one of those actors who can't be anyone else.
I would like to see Walken in that.
Oh, that'd be
In that-
Walken would have done that role
I would have loved that.
well as too.
yeah.
Yeah.
But man, that bit where he like melts that dude, and he's like,
like,
"Oh, look at
surprised.
that! It's getting on my shoes. Ew, ew. Do you see this? Oh, oh." And then like later he gets interrupted, and he's like, "Don't interrupt me while I'm talking." And his assistant hands him a melting stick, and he goes, "A melting stick? That's not a melting offense. She just interrupted me. Come on." Yeah, rawr, and yeah. So he was awesome. Easily my favorite part.
Jeff Goldblum was really good in it. I also liked that Rock character who was like
Who was
really
voiced by Taika Waititi.
Oh, really? He was.
Yeah.
really?
Yes, the director
Oh.
voiced that Rock guy.
That's cool.
Funny.
Who says funny, weird thing. I mean, that's his sense of humor comes the strongest out of that guy.
That's the mumblecore humor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like his this really subdued like, oh, I'm leading the revolution. Yeah, join the revolution.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a freaky circle. And
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like,
really
it's
funny.
like a circle. Just a freaky circle. You know?
Yeah, those are the two like shining stuff
And
for me in that
He's
film.
like, hey, I found this guy, but he was dead. So I've been carrying him around.
Oh,
Oh, look, he's alive.
he's alive.
It's like so, stuff like that. That was like in the middle of like an emotionally heavy moment too.
Right.
And the same thing, like right in the middle of the action battle sequence, Bruce Banner is like, "I'm gonna show you who I really am right now."
Yeah.
Hold on, camera restart.
Camera break.
Woo. Yeah.
How are you?
You okay?
Did you ever stop and restart it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure.
You're like, "Oh no!" All right, no, we're rolling. Cameras are capturing our images.
Oh,
That's cool.
I was just saying, so like, the Valkyrie that they're flying around with, she doesn't know that Bruce Banner is the Hulk. And then he sort of tells her, he's like, "It's time for you to find out, who I really am." And he jumps out of the plane because obviously he's going to turn into Hulk on the way down. And then he just flops onto the ground, in the most sickening way. It's
Yeah,
like,
that
whoa,
was the funniest part of the
that
film.
was hilarious.
So I very much expected that to happen when it did, and I was, because I feel like Marvel does that kind of thing all the time where they cut straight into the action. They're like, "Oh, haha, joke,"
Yeah.
and then straight joke.
it's
And it's almost become like a rhythmic thing to me.
Yeah.
it became obnoxious to me in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the
Oh, yeah.
joking banter that these guys are having while they're
Ridiculous.
fighting bad guys.
It's ridiculous.
Like, I know they're superheroes, so maybe they don't break a sweat or pant for air when they're fighting off thousands of robots. Maybe they don't. But they also have time to just make
goof
jokes
around
the whole
with,
time.
with your friends.
I mean,
But
it's
that
like,
entire script is quips.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
thing.
Yeah, from the beginning to the end.
But that's what I like about Thor is that it's pretty much top to bottom jokes as well, and it's not like the story's particularly deep or
No,
complex.
I think
It's a
that's what's nice
regular
about
story.
it is that they didn't.
Maybe
they
it's that
didn't
it doesn't
dig-
try to do too much.
Right. I think this was based off of, what was it? The comic Planet Hulk.
Oh yeah,
I think is what it's called.
That sounds right.
And yeah, it's very much just a spin-off. It's something that, like, hey, well, what would happen if Hulk, was like this huge guy in this other city-wide planet, it's just, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and therefore all the jokes that come out in it makes this movie a comedy,
Whereas all those the Age of Ultron takes itself very seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
And
half
you have all
comedy,
these
and it's
jokes
weird.
and-
It's
Yeah.
just stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like fighting Nazis in a bleak winter.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
no swearing, dude.
yeah.
can't swear.
Captain. Yeah.
This
Oh my
this
gosh.
whole idea about how Disney has this formula that they're sticking with, I feel like is going to very much hurt them in Infinity War, because I feel like it's a movie that could be so good,
Yeah.
and we'll get so mediocre because we're it's tried and true.
Yeah,
It's
it's
this
just so watered down.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
done
exactly.
and
It doesn't
done
feel
done.
so personal anymore.
Well, see, like this goes back to the whole thing that I talked about last episode.
Yeah.
About feeling like I'm broken.
Right.
Because everyone goes to these Marvel movies and they get psyched up and they're beating their chests and they're like super excited and I feel like they're so generic now that I don't have a drive to go see it in a theater.
Yeah.
I don't really care. I mean, I'm like, yeah, well, I'll watch it on my iPad.
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
You know, because like, there are movies where I wouldn't feel too worried about getting up to go to the bathroom, which I did.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
when we were watching Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And like, I've gone to lengths that might have injured me permanently holding it, so I wouldn't miss parts of certain movies. You know,
Right.
You know, they're like if your legs are crossed and you're like punching the seat cushion next to you. Gonna make it. You know, and in this one I'm like, I'll just go. I'll totally know what's happening when I get back.
Yeah.
And I did. It's like it felt like I didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
In Thor, Thor Ragnarok, it feels like the story like is the background to the
Right.
jokes.
That
Yeah.
is actually it's
That's a
nice that
good
way.
point.
Yeah.
It's nice that way.
Like you easily forget about the whole coming doom and their evil sister.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like you totally forget about it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah, they have this thing to do.
Yeah.
There was a few things that were a little weird. One, Doctor Strange's appearance seemed very like forced. And it's just
Super
like,
forced.
Just had no bearing on. You know, it's just like let's get Strange in a couple more movies so he's not so out of the blue.
Right.
In Infinity War.
Right.
Yeah.
Not to
You
mention
know.
his character in here was like super. I told Taylor about this. Was his character felt like it was more worked, like as if he's been in more movies.
Right.
Like he's
Yeah.
become now Doctor Strange.
Right.
He's no longer
No
that-
explanation needed.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
Which is, and this is kind of, you know, when we get into the idea of comic book movies, it's like you try to figure out in comic books, like back in the day, it doesn't really matter if you have something random like that in there, just because you dismiss it as, well, it's a comic book and comic books are weird, right? And in a movie, it feels like we're judging it a little differently, and then comic book movies, you're not sure which way to judge it, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, with regards to in the coming Infinity Wars,
Yeah.
this is one I will show up for, almost for the same reason I want to go see Justice League. Now, I look at Justice League and I see
Train wreck.
a disaster.
Yeah.
The trailer does not do it, the trailer does not do good for the movie. It makes it just look like a train
It
wreck.
looks like a mess.
It looks like a total
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the DC universe has never been all that compelling anyway.
No.
And the fact that they're skipping straight to the Avengers-like movie without
No,
giving any
Totally
of
fumbled
them
all of that.
development.
All of that
Let's
is
just go straight
so
to all
fumbled.
in.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Don't even go with the what was it? They have Aquaman now, and
They have Aquaman, the Flash, and Cyborg. The
Yeah.
Flash had
No one
one.
even knows who Cyborg is.
Yeah, Cyborg is this non-character who doesn't. Well, I guess he exists in Justice
I
League.
think
and for
he
2
exists
seconds
so
in
he can fly
BVS.
Aquaman around.
that's it.
Because his character is like his superpower is swimming. And so they're like, well, our war's on land, guys. So we need like Cyborg, sure.
Meanwhile, Marvel is doing like Black Panther.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, these are obscure characters, and
Marvel's
they're
got
freaking
it.
pulling it off.
Yeah.
and Guardians had 2 movies.
Yeah, that's
Guardians
really
that
obscure.
people didn't even know who the crap Guardians were, and
I think the only thing, I keep saying Age of Ultron, but Infinity War has going for it is the sheer scale of it.
That's
Right.
why I'm attracted.
yeah, something that's
I-
never
yeah.
been done before. Yeah.
Insane ensemble.
As a storyteller who's tried to put lots of things into a small amount of space in scripts and videos, I'm very skeptical.
Yeah.
I am very skeptical about. Supposedly they're going to have like 41 characters.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Wow.
41 speaking characters with battle sequences
Yeah, right.
in their big war.
That's so
you know.
crazy.
And then
41 points of view.
then the other thought is after Infinity War, like, how do you even top that? What, in the next one? Oh, it's 100 characters.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
can't just,
I feel
it's
like
diminishing returns.
I feel like part 2 or part 3, whatever it is, of
Yeah.
Infinity War will be the cap, and I hope it's the cap because I'm
Yeah.
tired of Marvel movies coming
Yeah,
out.
they got it.
I also want some satisfying deaths
Yeah.
in those
yeah,
movies. Like,
exactly.
Have
like
some
Superman.
finale.
I think
Reality.
Captain America, like Superman,
Superman, that's funny.
who is like the fact that he's going to play a major role in Justice League is like the worst kept secret ever.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
That's my biggest issue with the Marvel thing is that it has no clear end at all. It feels more like a TV show.
Yeah, I think they'll wipe some of the slate clean after
Yeah.
Infinity War
And then just install a new.
start building
cast.
new characters. I think Black Panther's going to be around a while. I've got a feeling that one's going to catch on.
Probably, yeah.
I could be wrong.
I guess so they always organized it through phases, and like each phase was like ended by an Avengers film. I guess the end of this Avengers film is going to be the end of the first total section of Marvel or whatever.
There's 2 more phases. That's terrible.
But like
No.
it won't. I don't see it sticking around anymore after that.
I
You
think
know.
I believe Disney is going to push hard to try to acquire X-Men. I really do.
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, they got Spider-Man. They went after him and they got him.
It'll
And
happen.
I think they'll get X-Men too. I mean, that's really just the last big missing piece for them.
I really didn't like Spider-Man.
Homecoming?
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it just again, it's one of those movies I'm like, yeah, I'll watch that someday.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I can't say that I'm glad that I watched it. Not so.
Would you put some cigarettes in the rating of that movie? Were there some cigarettes involved?
Yeah, I would say some cigarettes.
Wow. Ooh.
That's one I actually really
Harsh.
enjoyed.
You liked it?
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. Just because it was smaller scale.
I like Tom Holland. I've actually been sort of aware of him for a while because of Billy Elliot, which was a really cool movie when I was a lot younger. I was super impressed by Billy Elliot, and that was him. And he's an extremely dedicated actor. Like, he takes his physical condition very seriously. He works out like a beast. He's in crazy good shape and can do half the things that Spider-Man does. Like, with the exception of web slinging. That guy, because he's like a way into parkour. So like climbing walls and stuff and doing backflips, he's quite good.
I felt like I don't want to talk about it too much until you watch it.
Oh, I'm really not afraid of you spoiling
Well,
my
no,
experience.
it's not the spoiler. It's like
There's nothing you could say that will change my experience with almost any Marvel movie.
I feel like Tom Holland in the movie, like I felt like he knew he was playing Spider-Man, if that makes any sense.
Too self-aware.
Yeah, I felt like he was too self-aware.
That's a deep
there are some
concept.
there are some characters like who very much give off the role that they're playing. So like Thor, for instance, and Chris Hemsworth. Like Chris Hemsworth feels like he's Thor because he's acting the part on the script and it feels good, and he has good chemistry with other people. Tom Holland, I felt like he was Tom Holland playing Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, except,
And
I
that's
mean,
how
the
I
thing
felt
he has
about it.
against him is how many people we've now seen Spider-Man play Spider-Man,
That's another
right?
See,
so like, I
feel
haven't seen other Thors. Let's restart our cameras, everyone.
Woo!
Yeah,
I've never seen another Thor.
right.
I've never seen another Tony Stark. You know, to me, that will forever be Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. But
See, and for me, Tobey Maguire will always be Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, me too.
I've never liked those movies myself.
See, I love Sam Raimi's
I
Spider-Man.
love those
Yeah.
films. Yeah.
I never liked Spider-Man, actually.
No.
I just don't think I like the character
Maybe.
at all.
I don't know. Maybe because he's kind of a watered down Deadpool, if you will.
Very watered down.
Well, I mean,
I'm not
Deadpool.
sure if I'd go
Deadpool came
there.
off of Spider-Man, but I mean, like, if you had to go that way,
That
way,
kind of
that's-
personality.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
get
I
that.
like Deadpool mostly because of like shock factor. Like
Yeah.
they just kept doing things that you're like, what? Did they really do that? Oh my gosh!
I did like Deadpool the movie.
So it was fun.
That was really cool.
But I don't know. Maybe I like characters that are. I like superhero characters that are complex and dark.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man is neither of those.
Speaking of complex,
He's a nerd, he's a geek, and
he's not. Yeah.
He's like a high school kid sort of thing.
Speaking of like complex and dark, freaking the Marvel movies or Marvel shows on Netflix, those are dark shows, or some of them are, and I feel like they're horrible. I hate them.
Yeah.
I mean,
I haven't even bothered watching any.
Yeah,
I haven't watched. Well, I watched Shield, Agents of Shield.
oh,
We watched the first. I say my wife and I. We watched the first season
Yeah.
of that, and it was a fun time on the couch with an iPad and a bowl of popcorn. It's okay, but
I feel like that's pretty much how they all.
it's not good.
feel like.
It's not like great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I don't know. Maybe because I had high hopes for bigger production, Marvel-esque, Disney-owned stuff on Netflix. It felt like something I
Well,
could sink my teeth into, and
Yeah, the whole thing.
And it
I
wasn't.
mean, I feel like what they did with their TV shows, the Marvel Cinematic TV shows, have done with cinematic properties what TV stations have always done.
right.
Right? It's very traditional. It's old school. But the new thing
Yeah.
is taking those properties to TV where we now do the Game of Thrones thing. It's like,
Right,
okay,
right.
we have 10 episodes to do what we only had 2 hours to do.
Right.
We could do something far better. But with
With
Marvel's
less-
TV shows, it's like, it's, they're dialing it back, making it, it's a cheapened version.
Right.
For sure.
Well, it is cheapened, and I don't know. I feel like it's cheapened on more than just the budget.
Yeah. They all looked like, just from trailers and stuff, they looked very unappealing to me.
They're really cool, at least to me, and they're really cool in the first couple episodes. Then after that, then they start delving into the characters, and to me, they just fall apart.
The origin episodes are always fun.
Yeah.
But then they get into this thing where it's like, how do we keep an endless stream of bad guys coming at our new good guy,
Yeah.
right? And now what will happen next,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
At a certain point, you're like, come on.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really like what the cinematic universe MCU has done in general, I guess.
For movies like as a
For movies in general.
In general, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that constant unendingness. That's my biggest issue, is just finality. I like to watch a movie that has a beginning,
Yes.
a middle, and an end of some sort that exists in its own thing and is not
This is
constantly going forever.
right.
This is what makes HBO content better than
Right.
most television networks.
Except for sometimes AMC. Sometimes.
And Breaking
so
Bad.
so like their comedies they let run forever. Who cares? But if you're gonna pitch a drama to HBO, you're gonna pitch it with a beginning, middle, and end.
Right.
That's the only stuff they green light.
Yeah.
They have an end, and you're working up to that end, and someday you're gonna have to say goodbye to
Yeah.
Game of Thrones,
Right,
or
yeah.
whatever it is. Whereas we are just now in like the wash, rinse, and repeat phase of Walking Dead.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, those started relatively close to the same time, Game
Yeah.
of Thrones and Walking Dead. And Game of Thrones has only built... Camera. Is that a battery?
Oh, battery's dead.
Oh, no.
Jeez.
Oh, that's interesting.
Filmmaker
What
problem.
is this? Is this a battery?
Is that a good battery?
It says D. It's a D
Filmmaking
battery.
troubles.
Oh, dear.
Let's cut this part out of the podcast.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. It's kind of be funny to keep hearing, especially after we say, let's cut this part out of the podcast. As sort of a, self-aware,
Oh, dang.
kind of meta feel.
Uh-huh.
Like all the stuff we're saying now is supposed to be off the record.
Uh-huh. You're not hearing this, listener.
Yeah, but
and
we
I know
might.
that you're not hearing this.
47% of all right.
Devon Keys has just put a new battery into the Canon T3i with a
Oh, this is a dead battery.
50
Oh,
millimeter
yeah.
prime lens.
Here's one.
He chose poorly.
Here's a battery.
You chose poorly.
C.
Let's see how many batteries we can do.
Next battery. And
It's good.
We have a winner.
We
We
have
have
a
a winner. All right, I restarted both these cameras, so.
Could I see Totoro?
Oh yeah.
Oh, no, never mind. I got it.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah.
We good, dude?
I think we good, man. Just gotta put this back on here.
Well, we were talking about Universe-I. and and the need for finality.
Yes.
Yes. So
I don't like it.
It seems it seems like
The infinite stuff.
that we have a runaway, never-ending story with Marvel,
Yeah.
like a Walking Dead,
Yes.
which has really gotten pretty stale to me.
Oh yeah, Walking Dead.
Really,
is-
2 years ago.
Yeah, I've been done. I've quit watching Walking Dead a couple times. I kept coming back because
You hear something.
yeah, like oh, it's crazy
Did
season
you hear
finale.
that Glenn died?
Yeah, something
I
like
go,
that.
oh, I gotta watch. See, Glenn died. He didn't really die.
Actually, the
Then
thing-
he died later.
Then he died later.
The last thing I watched was Glenn's death, but I didn't even watch it in the episode. I just,
you're
looked
just
it up.
like, I need to see this
Yeah,
part.
I just want to see that
I
part.
just want to see Glenn
Yeah.
pulverized.
And then I have zero interest in.
And he's zero interest again.
Yeah, which was a great scene actually.
It is a
Yeah.
good scene. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. They do a lot of things really well.
Yeah.
Over at AMC, the people who brought us
Breaking Bad is like one of the best examples of a show that had a beginning, middle, end.
Yo.
But just imagine.
Yo.
Oh no, we'll do a whole episode.
So
on
we could
Breaking
commit a
Bad.
series to Breaking
But
Bad.
we can't have that in our Thor Ragnarok episode.
We already went to
We're already
Walking Dead.
talking about Walking Dead and
But my
like,
point,
stuff,
but it's connected to
It
the
is,
conversation.
yeah, I
But
suppose.
now, just do a thought experiment here. You know, we're all left in this blissful place now where we can look back and say Breaking Bad was one of the masterpieces of episodic storytelling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it'll forever be that way. And yes, they did make Better Call Saul.
which is actually very good.
It's very good.
It's pretty good, yeah.
And I think what makes it good is that it does feel rather isolated from
It's
Breaking
its own
Bad.
thing.
It's clearly its own thing.
Right.
But what if there was also a Jesse Pinkman show next?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, then
And what if then there was a
too?
Tuco Salamanca show as well? And at a certain point,
Don't give
Breaking
him
Bad
ideas.
is not so special anymore.
Yeah.
This is my problem with Star Wars, you know. And when I say
Yeah.
bad things about Star Wars, the new Star Wars stuff,
Yeah.
you know, people get up in arms to talk about how well made they are, and I have to agree, they are pretty well made.
They are.
They do some things really well, and I did enjoy the movies, but at the same time, we're cheapening what was once a
so-
very sacred thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like with every new Star Wars, and now they're making another trilogy, it's like that first trilogy. 20 years from now, like, our kids are going to be
Yeah.
like, oh, that old one?
Right.
Why would I watch that?
Right.
Yeah.
I like Ray and Finn better, where it has better graphics and moves faster and is, you know.
Better graphics, man.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe like I get that. Maybe they're. I think that was the point of the. Well, actually, no, that was not the point. The point was to make something that would make a lot of money, and you could do the Marvel thing too. They want to make the Star Wars thing
Yep.
last forever. They have plans to make a Star Wars movie every freaking single year.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's ridiculous.
It's become a
Oh my
business.
gosh.
I mean, it's become a brand new business, is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
what Marvel Cinematic Universe did to movies not only changed what movies can do, you know, with universes, with like bringing a bunch together, but has changed the business to where we
Yeah.
can have sequel beyond sequel beyond sequel. Forever.
And it's astoundingly successful.
Right.
And I don't
Uh-huh.
know. I
Which
don't,
yeah, it's
I don't
like-
want to go to this place where I'm bagging on audiences and saying that, like, people have become, you know, sheeple.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
But, like, it's crazy how well this has worked.
Yeah.
I read this article the other day about Disney winning the box office war this year. Now, this won't all be official until the year's over and the Star Wars numbers have come in.
but it's,
Where
it's
Disney will
definitely
be
going to
This
be
is
that way.
based on very conservative estimates. They're
Yeah.
like, we know it's going to make at least this much,
Right.
probably more. Okay, so based on that, Disney wins the box office war by a landslide, beating out. I think Universal was in second place, which had a big boost from it.
Oh, right.
which is lucky.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
Right, sure. Disney's going to win huge on only 8 movies. Whereas, like, and they're going to break a record.
Yeah.
And the record that they're breaking was set with 15 movies.
Wow.
Weird.
And the number 2 slot, Universal, has something more like 20 movies that came out this year. Disney blew away everyone on 8 films, and they virtually all came out of not a cinematic universe, but from a specific brand. They have their live-action fairy tale brand, Beauty and the Beast, right? They have the Pixar Animation Studio brand. They have the Disney Animation Studio brand, bringing you like Moana, you know. They have Star Wars, and they have Marvel.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah.
That is all they do now. They, you know, Disney used to make just tons of like smaller level, you know, family friendly, you know, day at the movies. I mean, every month or so there'd be something new coming out. I mean, they were a very prolific production house, but they know what works. They know what makes money.
Well, you're very right with the brand thing, right? Is that when you go to see a Disney movie, you know what you're going to see. You know.
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
there's zero gamble there.
And I think that does seem to be a thing now. People want certainty.
Right.
When they go to the movies.
Right.
And I've even said as much. I hate wasting my time. Right?
Yeah,
I don't like
right.
smoking the cigarettes. And
But then on the other hand, we wouldn't have movies like Mother, you know.
Yeah.
well, yeah, most people would say good riddance.
Most people would. Most people would.
Didn't someone say it was one of the worst movies of all time? or
Yeah, like
something?
of the century.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, that's,
Oh no, we will have an Arnofsky episode. We watched Mother together, the three of us, and so it's an experience we reference all the time. So if you hear us always talking about Mother, it's because
It's quite a strong experience.
It is,
what we
yeah.
had.
But you're right. There's less and less room for that type of film.
Right.
No other director could have made that film and had a wide release.
Which is why
it's shocking that he
only
even got a
Aronofsky
wide release
could have
with
done
that.
Which is why, when we were talking about M. Night Shyamalan, why his making of Glass right now will probably get a lot of viewers.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I think so.
Because he's
I
fallen
think-
into that brand now.
I think when he's, you know, and he's hinted that he's had this idea for a long time. That's something that he's wanted to do, which I believe.
Even
That's
so,
cool.
he did say
But-
he wanted to get out of the comic book thing too, and when he made Unbreakable, you know,
Right.
That he said he made it. Now I want to move on. You know.
That's true. In the past, you know, that's been his thing.
Yeah.
Like he never did the same thing twice.
Right,
Which is
right.
why a lot of people didn't like him.
Right.
You know, I mean, set aside that some of the movies are really hard to watch, but we have a whole nother podcast on
Yeah, I was
that.
gonna
we do.
mention, and I was like, we kind of we should make something about.
We should
that.
make a podcast about this.
That'd be a good idea.
But you're right. I'm sure that studios, when they saw him saying, "Oh, and it's connected to other movies,
Right.
like a cinematic universe,"
Yeah, they were
they're
like,
Ding.
"We
all
will,
right.
we will sign the check." Yes.
Universal even tried this out, right, with their Dark Universe.
Yeah.
Right, with their monster movies.
That's funny.
Which you shouldn't write out yet. I mean, it's just had one.
right. It's
There only
had
one movie
entry,
in, and it was a nightmare.
and it was terrible.
But dude, who couldn't have predicted that? I mean, I knew it was dead in the water as soon as I heard about it. You know, it's like, oh yeah, we're making The Mummy with Tom Cruise. I'm like, nope. This isn't gonna work.
I like how they
Not gonna
uploaded
work.
that first trailer that was like the wrong edit of the film,
has,
and
like,
they had
terrible
like
audio.
Yeah, the audio
That's
mix was
funny.
like missing, like the airplane's crashing and there's no like wind
Interestingly
noise.
enough, so there's two areas that still make money in Hollywood that are not part of cinematic universe, right?
Yeah.
They're horror movies and comedies.
Oh yeah.
Now, to me, comedies are 99% crap and mostly all recycled copies of each other.
Daddy's Home too.
Occasionally a decent the Daddy's Home cinematic universe.
Oh my gosh.
Occasionally a comedy comes along that surprises me. I see more creativity coming out of the horror niche, and horror had a huge year this
Yeah.
year.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where we saw some of the most progressive and inventive storytelling,
Right.
because that's like the only space left.
Yeah.
That's the only space
Yeah.
left.
And it's gonna
For,
be
you know-
claimed. Insidious is coming out with their third installment now.
Yeah.
And Saw.
well,
has been
and
through-
wasn't Annabelle Creation a part of that
Yeah, I
universe
think so.
too?
was it really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a spin-off.
spin-off.
And
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah, that's the whole James Wan universe. You could call it.
Paranormal Activity.
Yeah,
had
that
4 or
had a
5
bunch
movies.
of movies. It's interesting because after the sort of failure of The Mummy, supposedly Universal someone has suggested that they're going to sort of pivot their philosophy towards smaller scale movies, smaller scale horror movies in that dark universe. Even saying that they're going to mimic the Blumhouse production style.
That's interesting.
Not to bring up Shyamalan again. But Split was made on a $10 million budget and made like an insane amount of money. The return on investment is like $20 to every $1 put into the film.
That's insane.
Which is ridiculous.
Right. So it's like, why would you spend $200 million on a horror movie?
Yeah, exactly.
When you know you can. I mean, it wasn't a giant budget.
No, not
either.
at all. And that is...
and then Get Out was I think Get Out ended up in the top 10 box office films of the year. Get Out, Split, and It are all up there.
That's so interesting.
Which is incredible.
I gotta say something about a few headlines I saw on Reddit about Get Out, which were... Get Out was nominated for Best Comedy or Musical at the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
So
Best comedy.
Yeah, people were like,
yeah,
Best Comedy? How is Get Out a comedy?
Yeah.
But, I mean...
Did you see what Jordan Peele tweeted?
No, I didn't.
Oh, camera.
Restarting cameras.
Restarting cameras. Woohoo.
Jordan Peele, hold that thought.
Jordan
and Banana Peel.
As I was saying, Jordan Peele tweeted, Get Out is a documentary. and I saw that out of context before I knew that story, and I was just like, what? What is he talking about? But
is it not a comedy horror? And it's not like there's a horror category.
It's very much a comedy horror that works.
Yeah.
And I've never...
So it's not out of place being a comedy
There's
musical.
been a lot of comedy horrors in the past.
Not as good as
but
that.
Most are funny at the expense of terror.
Right.
Or scary at the expense of laughs. This one got both right.
Yeah, it's
in a big
it's
way.
kind of
it's
really
so good.
impressive how they did that.
I mean, the kind of categories that they have, right? They are pretty.
Golden
limited.
Globes is always weird.
It is kind of.
It is a weird award show. We should do an episode to just cover
Globes.
the awards.
Oh,
the
that'd be
awards
cool.
season would be fun. But yeah, the Globes are so odd. You know, because they have that comedy musical thing. Like,
as
you
if
see,
musicals are like a big deal.
Like Johnny Depp got nominated for Best Actor for his performance as Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean.
First one?
The first one, The Curse of the Black Pearl, in the category of Best Musical or Comedy. You know?
Yeah, that's
and like
stretch.
he is funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
He has a comedic role.
Yeah,
the movie's not
it's
a
not a comedy
comedy.
though.
Yeah, you know.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That's all weird.
The Globes are weird.
Yeah.
People watch the Globes because celebrities get drunk.
Yeah, and they do funny stuff.
And the host is usually sort of like edgy, like way more edgy than like the Oscars.
You know what? I think there's been some articles written about this, but I definitely see award shows kind of phasing out over
Well,
time.
they are.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not too far off. I mean, the Oscars really struggles to keep an interested television audience.
Yeah.
They really do.
They'll change. They'll adapt.
Do you think that's because
they'll adapt?
Well, I mean,
Ryan
I think
Seacrest is going to ask
No,
people
no,
to
I
vote
think-
on their phones.
No, they'll have Jake Paul host.
there you go. See, I'd watch that.
If you think Transformers 5 is the best movie of the year,
Oh my gosh, no. So that's actually
just text Transformers to this number now.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think that's because the films that are like, you don't see Marvel films nominated for Best Picture, you know?
Right.
The films that people are going to see are never represented at the Oscars outside of Best Visual Effects.
Yeah. So
Is that why, do you think?
I do think so. And it comes right back down to this whole conversation we're having about what like cinematic universes are doing to Hollywood and the way studios are making movies for fans that are more safe bets than they are necessarily creative and challenging. The people that are voting and the people that are critiquing are more impressed by what's different. You know,
Yeah.
who's pushing boundaries and changing the art form.
So do you see
But fans don't care about that.
do you see a time where the ratings get to a detrimental low and they cave in and start giving Oscar nods to Avengers Infinity War Part
Maybe.
2 for Best Picture and stuff like that? Just
I
to draw
don't know.
in
Just
I
to
don't
draw in
know.
audiences.
I don't know. They would have to change the voting.
Yeah.
The voting base. That's what it
Those
comes down
people
to.
are pretty.
If they let the critics
Peter,
of Rotten Tomatoes vote, you would see Marvel.
That's
movies.
all it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It'd be every
I mean-
Marvel movie that came out this
Yeah.
year.
I mean, I say this
nominated.
all the time that audiences think one way, critics think a whole nother way,
Yeah.
and creators think another way.
Yeah.
And then people challenge me on that and say, no, the critics on Rotten Tomatoes are almost always right on line with what I feel and see at the movie theaters. But that's because 2/3 of those critics are bloggers
Yeah.
that are writing from an audience perspective.
Right.
They're not
hardcore
They're not
critics.
what you used to see writing in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, are the people who still vote for Oscars? Are these people who are, classically trained?
Yeah.
And pick apart flaws in movies, flaws that you will overlook for your adventure with Thor.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
I think that's what you're talking about with how award shows are going to phase out
Yeah.
for that reason, because the decreasing popularity of that kind of thing.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, the kind of advertising money that used to be put into the Oscars was right up there with like major sporting events.
Right,
Right. You'd see big budget new commercials roll out on Oscar night.
Yeah.
Not the case anymore.
You
Not
know what-
even close.
What's funny is that they have, to just take a slight tangent, they had video game awards that they tried to do recently, and it was just a terrible thing. Like, everyone hated it.
Yeah, I just wonder if the modern sentiment is just not in favor of award shows
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I think.
Like the Razzies has all the ingredients to be a very entertaining piece of media.
Yeah.
But they really struggle to get enough interest and enough funding to be anything more than what they are. I mean,
They kind of work as a good headline. Like they have their award, and then
and then
this
people
movie
like to
won.
wait about
Yeah.
it.
Right.
No one watches the Razzies.
But no.
Right, exactly.
No.
No offense, John Wilson.
Yeah. Well, I just wonder if modern audiences are not interested in like the self-love of Hollywood. I wonder if that's becoming more of a turnoff.
I
It could be.
definitely think so. Actually, you know what? Someone even posted an image recently. It was one of those things, memes.
I've heard of this.
Yes.
Wait, what's a meme?
I don't know. It's some meme thing. So
Describe this meme you saw.
it was the Oscar venue, just the audience, and no one was there except Meryl Streep. And then it was like in response to 2017's Hollywood controversies, everybody who's going to be at the Oscars, kind of like the whole
Nice.
sexual stuff going on with Hollywood is going to put a really weird
I think
twist
you're right.
on this year's
I
Oscars.
think
That is
you're
gonna be
right.
really
I
odd,
mean,
yeah.
Hollywood got a whole lot grosser this year.
Oh, yeah.
And it already was pretty grotesque with we give like these actors and directors special license to act a certain way and get away with it because they're the modern deities,
Right, yeah.
right?
Something
But I
about
think
public
that
worship.
veneer is gone.
Yeah.
It's
It
not
is
what used
peeling
to
away.
be.
Yeah, it's different now.
I mean, I think new celebrities are going to be internet based.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, when they come the next 20 years, I think celebrities are just going to change completely.
Yep.
From this classic television thing that we've
It's a
been
YouTube
seeing.
thing.
Yeah.
All right, since you guys know so much, tell me what I need to do.
You got to
You
put a red arrow in your thumbnail.
There you go.
gotta-
Red arrows. Cut
Yeah.
yourself out in like a cutout looking shape.
Yeah.
Make it big and make big yellow text.
You
bold
sound.
that says, "You won't believe what he did next."
Yes.
Oh, see, I'm so out of touch that when you said thumbnails, I thought you meant putting something in my thumbnail.
You can do that
And I
too.
was like, it sounds like you're describing like a Lady Gaga outfit.
Oh no, that would actually make a good good clickbait video.
that would
Like,
be,
what,
yeah. Put
what he put in his thumbnail, you won't believe.
And what happened next will shock you.
50 million marbles in a pool.
Doctors hate him.
That would get him.
We gotta do an internet episode.
Just an episode of the Talkies about the internet.
All right, so
Not about the internet as a whole. No.
as predicted, we have floated all over the world here, and a conversation that began with Thor Ragnarok. But I see how it's all
I think
loosely
it's
tied
connected.
together.
It might be connected.
So let's take a step back towards our origin and wrap up this episode with our final takeaways on Taika Waititi's Thor Ragnarok. Taylor.
I enjoyed myself watching it. Fun movie. Story's not anything impressive at all. I don't know. I just got pretty much exactly what I expected from it. It's just fine.
My feelings of Marvel in a nutshell.
Yeah.
You get exactly what you expect
And it was like all right.
and nothing else.
I liked that it was more colorful. So that's the most positive thing that MCU's got going on for itself these days is they're making their films more colorful.
That is interesting.
That's it.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
More colorful.
Yeah, like just straight up they put colors into it.
That's
Which is
true.
cool.
Yeah. Dude,
More of the same.
The poster for Thor is one of the best I've
Oh,
seen
man.
in a long time.
Yeah,
man.
That is a great poster.
I love that poster.
I want Star Wars to make an interesting poster. That every poster is an homage to the original poster.
Yeah.
And in when A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back came, they all had mini posters. There's a lot of really cool ones out there. One of my favorite Empire Strikes Back posters is this weird like silhouette of Darth Vader at the top of the stairs, sort of stalking Luke with his lightsaber out. You know those stairs that are like backlit with red in them. When Luke is falling
yeah.
into the cryo chamber, you know, and he's talking. They turned that image into a poster that
cool.
looked awesome.
That's really cool.
But they're only making this character poster that is an exact like replica. You know, good guy here, bad guy here,
Right.
planet destroying thing over here.
You know, there's it's even become such a popular thing that you know how the trailer for episode 8 is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. For episode 8 has kind of split people, audiences, on going, no, it's fake. No, it's real.
Right.
There was-
You're talking about the tease at the end where it kind of looks like Rey might be like tempted by the
right.
dark side.
They're trying to build this whole thing up
Yeah.
that the good guy might be the bad guy. In the even in the poster, okay, because of how many posters they've had, and the I can't build my thoughts.
It's late at night, guys.
Yeah.
We need more yerba mate.
Anyway,
Sponsor
because
come to life.
the posters have been what they are, someone's analyzed the current poster for episode 8 and been like, well, because Luke's positioning, he means this, and because of Rey's positioning, she means this.
Like, we already know everything about this movie
From the
because they
poster.
gave it up in the poster.
Right. So I mean, so there you go with the.
Yeah.
I just thought that was.
I
Funny.
guess like the moral of today's conversation is like, we're talking about design versus like spontaneity, or originality. Originality versus, well, non-originality. The value of originality.
The value.
in it when you've learned a cookie cutter approach that wins.
Yeah.
What happens to originality?
Right.
How long can you take that?
In that sense, I thought Thor Ragnarok was a simple popcorn fun movie to go to because you know what you're getting and it pays off, and there you go. Solid 75%.
Very good. Very good. C+ with honors.
That's it.
As for me, most fun I've had in a Marvel movie since the first Guardians of the Galaxy, which is, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
I'm
it's
glad
been
that they're still
for
able
Marvel.
to get that out of me.
Yeah, that's nice.
Um,
They haven't gone completely dead yet.
yeah. So there's an album by Paul Simon called "So Beautiful or So What," and like the songs on it are kind of like mixed between like really really good and just sort of like this is like every other song he's ever played. And so when I think of like the spectacle of the Marvel, the MCU, and mixed with like how predictable and cookie cutter it all is, that's what always comes to my mind. So beautiful, and so what?
That's great.
And I guess that's we'll close on that note. You've been listening to the Talkies from Carmen Lion Studios. Once again, we have 2 other podcasts going at the moment. One called Confirmed, which is a video game podcast hosted by these 2 guys.
Yes, sir.
Woot woot.
And it's very cool. Check it out. The other, WTF M. Night Shyamalan, a 6-episode deep dive into movie land.
Docucast.
A
Docucast,
yes.
yes.
This is a serial podcast that contains time travel and battles
colliders.
with trolls, hadron colliders. I mean, it's
quite the documentary.
yeah. We spent a lot of time in the warehouse basement for WTF M. Night Shyamalan.
It's good stuff.
And we're very proud of it.
Yes.
It's fun.
Please check it out on iTunes. And thank you for listening to the Talkies. Please rate, review, and share with your friends. Until next time, I'm Kenny.
I'm Devon.
And I'm Taylor.
And we will see you at the Talkies.
I'm really happy that was empty. Yerba mate all over the mixer.
The whole episode.
Good thing I have 4 more.
You ought to be in pictures. You're wonderful to see. You ought to be in pictures. Oh, what a hit you would be. Your voice would thrill a nation.